In today's video, I'm going to share a duplex that I purchased in the city of Welland, where I was able to sever a piece of land and sell it for $210,000 while the existing property appreciated from my initial purchase price of $425,000 up to $625,000, all in the span of just 2 years. If you're new to my channel, my name is Koukun, and in this channel we talk about real estate investing, and I run a real estate team that helps investors buy and sell investment properties. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, check out the link in the comments below for our beginner's guide to investing in the Niagara region. All right, so let's dive into this particular property. So the property that I purchased is a two-story. It was a duplex when I purchased it. Here are photos from the upper unit when I did about a $15,000 renovation after purchasing it. So I did flooring, paint. The kitchen was already there. It already had laundry upstairs, which is very nice. Each unit has its own laundry. The listing itself didn't really have much in the side of photos. So let me just adjust this here. So and all the photos of this listing were just exterior photographs, but you can already see back there is services being put in. So I'll share a little bit more about that. But essentially the story behind this property, I had a client interested in this property. We put in an offer, we negotiated back and forth. I think initially the property was listed closer to $475,000. We negotiated down close to $425,000, which is what I ended up purchasing it for. And then my client said, hey, I don't want to move forward on this property. He was looking at this property actually as a triplex conversion. So since it's 2 stories, it already actually had 3 kitchens, 1 on each level, except that right now it's set up as a main unit, main floor and basement unit, and a upper second unit. So he was thinking, okay, what's the cost to legalize it as a legal triplex? City of Welland allows you to do that kind of renovation. And I think the budget at that time was around $200,000, which is similar to now. And he just figured a $425,000 property built, late 1940s is not the property he wanted to invest $200,000 into. So he decided to walk away. I asked him, hey, it's a really nice property for me. Can I purchase it? Because I was looking at it without going through the trouble of making it a triplex. Even with just 2 units, the cash flow was there. And it had a very interesting potential for a land severance, which I even told him about. He looked into it. At that time, I didn't have as much experience with land severance, so I didn't have the contact to verify whether it was possible or not. So I actually purchased this property with the hopes I could sever the land, but without actually knowing that I could or not, which is quite a bit of a risk. But the benefit is that at this purchase price, I thought it was a no-brainer. So this property comes with 7 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms, 1 on each level. The upper second floor unit is a 3-bedroom unit. The main floor has 2 bedrooms and the basement has 2 bedrooms. So the main floor basement is actually a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, and the upper is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath unit. Lots of parking. It comes with a detached garage that the tenants use for storage. And this is sort of the backyard, which will become the second building lot. So let's take a look here. All right, so this is what we ended up doing. So the property is located in a corner lot. So if you can see here, there's a street over there, Louise Street, and the property is on Sauer Avenue. We looked into it, and the property was actually located on 3 original building lots as per the master plan. So going through this process, we couldn't quite sever it into 3 separate lots. That would be incredible, but the existing house takes up the space that's located in part 1 here. So part 2 is pretty much the maximum we were able to split from this property. And I worked with a planning consultant who helped me get the survey, and we were able to decide that we can split about a 30-foot lot and keep the existing house on the 45-foot lot. Let me show you a quick tour of the upper unit. So this was the unit that we purchased vacant. We were able to do some minor renovations and actually rent it out for close to $1,400. The kitchen was already there. We didn't do anything to it. We did paint the property and we put in some new flooring. The flooring in the kitchen was decent, but the remaining part of the home, I think, had like a carpet or some old vinyl plank. So we removed it. We put in some, laminate flooring. So we put in some new vinyl plank, paint, trim, just really clean it up. Nothing too significant in terms of the renovation budget. So you can see there's 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. Bathroom, kept it mainly the same, just cleaned it, put some new flooring in there. This is bedroom 1. Bedroom 2, actually one of the windows was broken, so we had to put this little garbage bag until we could get the window ordered. And bedroom 3, and this bedroom was the smaller bedroom, as is commonly the case for these type of properties, where when you have a smaller 3-bedroom unit, 1 bedroom is usually tiny, right? Like almost a walk-in closet. All right, so let's take a look at the profitability of this investment. So I was able to purchase this property for $425,000, put a 20% down payment of about $85,000, land transfer tax, legal fees, and about a $15,000 renovation budget. So my total investment is about $107,000. At this purchase price, here's how the numbers look like. So the upper unit was rented for $1,400, the basement the main floor basement combination for about $1,750. So I'm bringing in just north of $3,145 a month, and my mortgage payment is $1,655. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, these are all inclusive rents, and property management. My monthly cash flow after everything is about $478. Now, this isn't pure profit because there are maintenance expenses here and there. And again, with real estate, I don't think you can really get a good positive cash flow that is pure profit until you have a much lower debt to the asset value. But anyways, this is the numbers on purchase, which I was very comfortable with. I decided to move forward on the purchase. Here's how the numbers look like right now. I have since severed the land, this 30-foot lot, part 2, you can see in this survey here, and I've sold it. So I actually was in talks with a buyer who bought some land in the nearby subdivision, and I reached out to him earlier to see, hey, I have this piece of land coming up. Are you interested? We went back and forth. We kind of put it on hold because we were still waiting on the city to complete the severance process. He then reached out to me earlier this summer, and around that time, the city had given us the approval. So we went back and forth again, came to a price that I felt was very fair for this land, given the circumstances, because right now with this money, I can utilize it to make some other investments, and I felt very comfortable with that. And for him, he was still getting a bit of a deal because this price is less than what it would have sold for at the peak, but we have to adjust to the current reality. We can't just focus on the past and what things were worth back then. So $210,000, very fair purchase price. The second part is I'm also now refinancing the property, and I got the property appraised. Now, this was kind of curious because the bank appraised the property at $700,000 actually, but they were only willing to lend up to $500,000. So I'm guessing that implies they are estimating the value of the property at $625,000, which is around the number that I would actually estimate the property for. There are properties nearby that have sold that, adjusting for renovations and quality, I think $625,000 is a very fair value for this property in its current shape, and given the fact that it is renovated and producing some decent rent. So this allows me to take another $160,000 out, which is more than my entire initial investment plus some extra, plus the land value. Now, the land sale, I will pay capital gains tax on that profit, and I will have to pay some commissions and some legal fees on the sale. So it won't be pure profit, but it is a good chunk of profit, close to half of my initial purchase price, which is wild when you think about it in just 2 years. In terms of the numbers after refinancing, my mortgage payment does go up to the point I will be in a negative cash flow situation, which is not something I would recommend someone to purchase a property. I wouldn't really recommend someone to purchase a negative cash flowing property for the most part, except in this scenario, if I can get $160,000 in cash from a refinance, my plan is, I'm going to set somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000, in a bank account, earning interest that every time there's some negative cash flow I need to pay for, a vacancy, a maintenance, repair, or renovation, I can use that money. And in the meantime, the rest of the funds I can hopefully reinvest to produce some more positive cash flow, or just use it for some potential to grow that capital. So I'm comfortable going to a negative cash flow if it means I have access to the money and I can utilize it and allocate it effectively. This may not be the same for everyone. So if you are not and you're in this situation, you can just keep the mortgage as it is and have the positive cash flow. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just at the point where I want my money to be working for me as hard as possible. And if it means taking on a little bit more mortgage risk, I'm willing to do so. We'll see if that works out in the long term, if it results in a positive outcome versus a negative one. But I am very careful in terms of the investments I choose. I try to only invest in things that I understand and that I have control over. Whether it's real estate, index funds, I try not to put money into non-liquid investments, meaning I don't like investments where the money is stuck and I don't have a choice whether I can get it out or not for the most part. And the reason this is important is if I need the money, I want to be able to get access to it, even if it means a severe haircut in terms of the amount I'm getting out. Like with real estate, for example, right now is not an ideal time to sell real estate, but if you want to or need to, you can. That is not a choice that I often see with many of these private partnerships or syndications where you invest money into a land development, you invest money into private lending. In those type of investments, your money is stuck. You don't get to ask for the money earlier in most cases, which is for the most part good because the investor will leave the money invested. But I always want to protect myself because if there's ever a scenario where I need money in a rush to avoid something terrible, and I don't know what that is, but living through COVID, living through interest rates rising, I feel like the world is always uncertain. There's always things that pop up that you can never predict. You don't want to be in a position where if you can't raise some money, you're going to be in a terrible financial dilemma. So that's my 2 cents. That's the way I invest. So this money that I'm taking out is going to be invested in a way that either is going to sit in cash in a high interest savings account, or it's going to be put into something that I feel I understand, that I feel is going to provide a meaningful opportunity to have a return on investment, and is going to be an investment that I can sell. Even if it's at a loss, I can sell it to recoup the money if absolutely necessary. So that's my framework. I hope you find that helpful, and let me know in the comments below, is that how you invest? Or if not, how do you like to choose your investments? I'm always curious to learn how all of you choose the different investments you get into. Again, if you're interested in investing in the Niagara region and working with Team Koukun, which is my real estate team that helps investors buy and sell rental properties, check out the free beginner's guide in the comments below. For our beginner's guide to investing in the Niagara region. It's a free resource we've created here at Team Koukun that we share why the Niagara region is just on fire and it has been booming for the last few years, and why we expect it to continue. So check it out in the comments below. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and until next time, all the best.